Well, good evening. I'd like to call the regular select board meeting to order at Town of Pownell, May 27th, 2025. As you, per usual, I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're able, can you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a fiscal year 25 AP warrant number 27, the amount of $357,101.99.
I will move that we pay AP warrant number 27 in the amount of $357,101.99.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay AP warrant number 227, the amount of $357,101.99. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is payroll journal number 448, the amount of $10,163.77.
I will move that we pay payroll journal number 448 in the amount of $10,163.77.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to pay payroll journal number 448, the amount of $10,163.77. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of previous meeting, May 12th, 2025, public hearing and regular meeting.
I will move that we accept the minutes of May 12th, 2025, public hearing and regular meeting as written.
I second.
Moved and seconded to accept the minutes of May 25th, public hearing and regular meeting as written. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. An opportunity for any resident of the Town of Pownell step forward and be heard by the select board. Do I see any out there in the audience? Seeing none. Next item is department reports. Department head reports can be viewed on the respective website pages. You just click on the department and there's the report. Does the select board have any questions for the department heads who are present?
I have none.
Mr. O'Brien, none from Ms. Day, none from me. The select board having a report.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Why? All right, next item is new business. In the new business, we have Mr. Peter Wagner, Civic 101 presentation. Peter, you ready to go? Absolutely.
Okay,
please.
great. Well, John, you've clearly been doing this a while. I'll try to not knock you off your pace here.
Oh, no. Get through to get to you. We're
Outstanding. Sure. So I'm Peter Wagner. I'm the director of the Community Programs Office, which is a part of RSU 5 that serves Pownell along with Freeport and Durham. We this year ran a Civics 101 course for adults. It falls into our adult enrichment programming. We did it in partnership with the town of Freeport. It's an idea that I stole completely whole cloth from Davidson, North Carolina, which was the town that we lived in before we moved back to Maine. They've been doing it for 20 or 30 years. It's a very, very popular class. They run it multiple times a year. It's full every year. I've wanted to do that to try to get into that program. Since I got into the office in 2018, we ran it for the first time this spring with Freeport, and it was a great success. We had 20 residents who took part in the program. It was a 6-week program, is the way that we did it there. And each week there would be 1 or 2 presenters from the municipal organization. So we heard from the town manager and the town planner, and we heard from finance, and we heard from the town clerk, we heard from public safety. We toured the library and learned about public services. We had the public works director who did a presentation for us. And so the idea is for residents to have an opportunity to learn more about the town where they live, to understand the process a little bit better, to get to know the decision makers and to humanize them a little bit and to form some relationships. And on the other side of the coin, it's a chance for the town to show off a little bit, things that they're proud of, things that they're excited about, and to possibly find some volunteers. And I can report that after this first session in Freeport, There's one member from our class who it looks like she is in line to be joining the Friends of Freeport Community Library Board, and another person who may be joining a citizens committee that is linked with public safety and the police department. It was very well received from the participants. The folks who took part from the side of the town feel that they got a good return on that in goodwill capital, if nothing else. And we were very excited to do it. We ran the course at a very nominal $10 per person fee. We felt that we did not want, as is the case with all the programs that we do, we don't want cost to be an impediment to anyone taking part. But oftentimes there's a phenomenon, and maybe you've seen this here, where if you make something free of charge, something else comes up that night, and well, it didn't cost me anything anyway, so they make the other choice. So we had a nominal fee that covered pretty much all of our expenses. I bought coffee and water each night so that people had that on hand. And then we had some tokens with the Town of Freeport logo that we gave to folks at that sort of a graduation ceremony that we did at a town council meeting. So that's the way it was done between community programs and the Town of Freeport. I'm really excited to hear from Becky that there's some interest in perhaps doing it in Pownell as well. And what I would like to say to the three of you is that there's no right and wrong way to do it. If you felt that the way Freeport managed it and the sort of sessions that they offer is just right, and you'd like to do something similar, great. But if there's sort of a different flavor that fits best for the town of Pownell, then that's by all means what we should do. And my job as community programs director, hopefully, is to take the heavy lift off of you all. People, the presenters, the featured personalities each night would have to have something prepared and be ready for a presentation, and then hopefully some vigorous Q&A. But other than that, my job would be to take care of the logistics and make it a good experience for both the presenters and the participants. So that's a 5-minute sketch of what we did this spring, and I'd love to take your questions and just get your reactions to that, or what are you wondering about it?
Well, let's bat it around. Peter, why don't you sit?
Sure, thank you.
Let's turn on that microphone. I hate to have- So Peter, it's my thought that, and this is an open conversation, that we, along with probably every other town in the state of Maine and the rest of the country, struggle with involvement from the citizens. When something goes wrong, then we hear from everybody. When something goes right, then there's a lot of hands off. As you can see, I mean, here we are, we have, a couple of department heads here and spouse, and that's it. And I think I've struggled in the 16 years I've been doing this with trying to figure a way to involve the public with municipal government. It feels like it is not this boring subject that put people to sleep, but maybe that's just my interest. Maybe it really is a sleeper, and you are what your record says you are, right? Little Parcells quote. So I would like to give it a try, and I'd like to involve the 5th grade class as well and invite them as part. I mean, they've been they're a teacher who's a real community involvement, but that's just me. What do you think, Kate? What Mr. Wagner had to bring?
I think it's worth a try because it's never been tried. You have done it in Freeport. I mean, were you satisfied with the level of interest that you had?
Yes, just press that.
Okay. Yes, for sure. I was very happy that we hit our 20, which was sort of the magic number we were looking for. We would have run it with fewer, but 20 it felt like the right size where it could be a vibrant discussion with a big crowd, and remain personal, real personal touch, eye-to-eye sort of conversation. So the registration number was right where we wanted it to be. Our numbers were great every week. 17, 18, 19 people pretty much every week attended. And the conversation was wonderful. People asked a lot of questions, and every week, people taking copious notes and learning something like, I had no idea that was offered. No idea that was a part of what public safety did. And so and I was one of those people, by the way. I'm a Freeport resident myself, and so it was great. I enjoyed that aspect also. One of the pull quotes that we couldn't have paid a marketing agency to do this well, but one of our participants after one of the sessions said, I am falling in love with Freeport in a whole new way because of this program. Just meeting the decision, meeting the people, learning things, and feeling like the town is in good hands based on those interactions. It's invaluable. So, so you're hearing that from me. I'm the community programs director. I would absolutely encourage you all to reach out to or I can maybe point you in the direction of counterparts that you have in the Freeport Town Council or people at Town Hall that were involved just to get their take on it. But I would, launching into Freeport, I started there because I'm a Freeport resident, and the folks at Town Hall are the ones I know about, despite all the work that we've done together. But very much the plan for me is that this really is going to sing if, as part of the RSU, if we can offer this to residents in all three towns. And so I'm excited.
My instincts tell me in panel it would be possibly a smaller group or a shorter time span, or just sort of maybe a little less involved as far as presenters and whatnot. Or would it be combined with Freeport and Durham somehow? Did you consider doing it as the RSU as a whole?
Did the thought go through my mind? Yes, but ultimately I thought that it would make more sense. I mean, there is enough differentiation, I think, in the towns, in the way they operate. Durham's in a different county, just culturally, that it would make sense to keep it as granular as possible. That's not to say that in the future there couldn't be. Well, so for instance, this was Civics 101. That was the name of the course. We've talked about doing a Civics 102, where if you complete Civics 101, then you're eligible to register for a program that features the leaders of nonprofit agencies based in the town of Freeport, or Civics 201, which brings into play business owners on Main Street in Freeport. So additional pieces to the puzzle. So it was pointed out by many of the participants and actually some of the presenters that, gee, it would have been nice to have the school district as one of the presenters. So there's an opportunity possibly where we could do something that involved all three towns, to have the superintendent and maybe some school board members.
Andy?
I think Pownell especially, well, probably Durham too, we would have to focus on the volunteer efforts of our numerous committees and boards in town, because this town's run 90% by volunteers.
Becky?
I think there's an opportunity there to invite the boards and committees and just sort of talk about what they do for public education in hopes of getting volunteers, but also make sure they have the tools too they need to run. Couple of questions. Did you do any extra outreach for this besides the flyer or the catalog that goes out? Like, did you specifically do a mailer to try to point people in that direction?
Yeah, it's a perfectly logical question, Becky.
Mhm.
The community programs, we do a lot of things really well. Marketing ain't one of them, unfortunately. So we left a little bit to chance. I think we left some cards on the table.
Well, that's pretty good if it was just, people flipping through the brochure. So what would be the timeline if we wanted to make, what is it, about September?
That's really up to you.
Okay.
Now, I think that a program like this will perform best if it is in our printed publication, which goes into mailboxes twice a year.
Absolutely.
We do occasionally do programs that are not in print, and we just do electronic marketing with mixed success. So our catalogs go into the mail in August and January each year. So if you wanted to do a fall or winter program, which is it's totally doable. It's ambitious, but then I think what we would want to do is to have all of the details in place about, okay, if it's a 4-week program or a 6-week or an 8-week, here are the days of the week that we're going to be doing it. Here are the presenters. That was something that we launched without in Freeport that I think held us back a little bit, is that town hall wasn't able to confirm who are the personalities presenting. People really wanted to know, like, okay, who am I going to see?
Right.
So, so if you wanted to have things ready to go and ready for print in July, have it in the August publication, and we could do it somewhere between September and January. Or if you wanted to have it ready to go early December, get it into the January mailer. That covers January right on through August. So, so it really, what's the best time of year for you all? What's the best day of the week to do it that avoids, conflicts with other things that are happening here in town? What's the right number of presenters and who are those people? Those are places where I really would defer to you all. But yeah, there are two opportunities here for publication.
January timeframe would work perfect with our December quarterly mailer too, to just, get something delivered with an insert and give us time to organize.
Because I think you saw that when there was something that was of interest to town, like our last planning board meeting, people come out fairly low level of understanding about the process, what's going on, the actual ordinance that's in play. I think that there are going to be a lot more planning board meetings and other meetings that are fairly contentious, that the town would certainly benefit from a course like this, where someone from the planning board could say, well, this is really what's going on here, and this is citizens' participation, and this is where we find the information. And I mean, we've had questions like, what's the difference between a policy and an ordinance? I mean, we're very different than Freeport because of our form of government, and therefore I hate to use the word simple, but there are a lot of less layers to government here than in Freeport. But there's certainly questions. We seem to miss the whole population of school parents, not just. So that's why I would like to consider, offering, the fifth grade an opportunity to sit at some of these classes, so they could bring their parents to the class and make it part of their curriculum. She's asked for that opportunity. So yeah, I would strongly urge the board to consider contracting with Peter or letter of memorandum for a January rollout. That way we could communicate. We wouldn't be, drawing straws at the last minute to see who's going to people.
Right. Yeah, that would be a good long runway to get.
And then we could actually publicize who would be there, what was going to be discussed. I know our erstwhile state representative would like an opportunity to participate in something like that. You can find Powell. Did you hear me on that? So, yes. Great. I don't even think we need to vote. Can we nod?
Oh, yeah. No, I think it would benefit.
Very excited about that. So I think next steps on my side of things would be that just in the coming handful of weeks, if that, if this spring isn't too crazy for you all, that maybe after the town meeting. Sure. Should wait for that. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So sometime soon after the town meeting, we just get together and do some early planning, like what would be the optimal time of year, day of the week, who are your list of potential participants, the must-haves, and then this would be an interesting angle, and maybe I think Pownell Impact would be a really good group to feature at some point, at least partially. Like there were some sessions where it wasn't just one department shared, and they were able to really cover their material and do their stuff. But having people from the school perhaps sort of you know, merging a little bit your idea and getting that in there. But, yeah, if we get that in the January book, I think be able to put something together really good for Brent.
Great. Well, thank you for being your panel. We
Yeah.
Appreciate that a lot.
Wonderful. I think about Pownell a lot, actually. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to have this sort of partnership with you all. It's easy for me to do it in Freeport because of proximity and
Yeah.
familiarity, but yeah, I don't take this opportunity to work with you all as much as I should. So thank you for being interested.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good. Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
So we'll put that on our list of things to do after town meeting, if we survive town meeting. Next item on the agenda is June 10th, election counter hours. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
I'll send you cancel.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so one advantage we have now to having the part-time clerk is to be able to offer counter hours on days like election. However, she is still early in her training. And so I'm going to ask a couple of things to consider allowing me the ability to shut the counter down should it get hectic or busy or, you know, what's going on. I don't expect this is going to be a super busy election. But it is the last tax payment due date too. And so a lot of people do want to come in and make that last payment. So that's my other request, is that maybe we consider limiting the transactions to just be tax payments and not private sale vehicles with the complexity of the plate change thrown in, and Crystal kind of possibly being on her own for quite a bit of time could lead to either long lines or a lot of waiting at the counter if Pascal and I are busy in the election room. So I just kind of wanted to have the ability to make some judgment calls that day.
I say use your judgment.
What's the election?
It's municipal officers and RSU 5 budget validation. So we have to run it from 8 to 8, the poll hours. So maybe the tax payment will get more people to vote, which is good because they're coming down to, you know, to pay, but
8?
Will you put a sign up to something to that effect? If you're,
we could put it everywhere. Yep, we'd have a sign up that day. We could put it in the constant contact going out this week. You know, put it on the website, on the event calendar event, you know, what's happening. Yep, there's plenty of places that we could put it.
All right, well, I think it's a judgment call, so.
Okay.
I can't imagine being groundswell.
I don't expect, November, I think will be much busier. And by then, you know, the training will be much more solid, but,
But it's crazy, shut her down.
and then there are 2 other days that I didn't put on here. Town meeting, if we could close at 4:30 on the 23rd, so we can get ready. And then June 30th is end of fiscal year, but it's our later day. So if we could close by 3 to get the fiscal year closed and everything sort of packed up and ready for Tuesday, July 1, start of the new fiscal year. And we'll get all those out in the constant contact this week.
Any objections to that?
Not at all.
Great.
Does Mr. Wagner whisper that everything's going to go for the?
I have it in writing via email this morning that the school is available for town meeting. We are set to. I will confirm that morning with them that it's going to be set up and we'll be good to go. But we'll just stage the stage room in case and kind of have it ready to go if we need to. Something happens.
All right. Excuse me. Next item is town attorney letter of engagement. You have in front of you draft. Becky?
So this is Ben McCall's letter of engagement to officially bring him on as our town attorney through Drummond Woodsum. He did put it in my name, so this just going along with the RFP that you reviewed 2 weeks ago. If you choose to accept it, just motion for me to also be able to sign it because he put it in the town administrator's name.
I would move that we accept the letter of engagement and allow Becky Taylor Chase to sign said letter and return.
I second.
Moving seconded to accept the letter of engagement from Ben McCall, Robert Woodson, and to authorize Becky Taylor Chase, Town Administrator, to sign the agreement. Is there any further discussion?
Do we have a meeting with John at some point?
So I have sent out an email to the board to just start thinking about dates. He's available sort of late afternoon, sort of pre-dinner right now works best for him. At that time, we could also have the meeting with the resident regarding Chatsey Road. They can be available anytime. They're very flexible with their schedule this time of year, so we just have to come up with some date options.
I suggest that we try to get Mr. McCall and the resident from the Chadsey Road at 5:30 before our next select board meeting.
I cannot make that one because it's the night before the election. And so I'll be helping Pascal get the election done before I would come up at 6:30 for the meeting.
Either way.
And the next meeting is town meeting. You have a short meeting right before town meeting. So
Andy, what's the first? I can't do it, first Monday in June. Suggestions, anybody?
Could we do it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
We should just pick a day and I'll see if I can, my calendar with me, I wasn't ready for anything other than select board meeting. So let's do, first Tuesday in June.
June 3rd, next Tuesday.
Let's do it at,
Over.
I guess, can you stay extra? Can you
Mhm.
do a start at 4:30 and?
Yep.
Third.
I can set up, do you think 30 minutes with Ben first and then have the homeowner in around 5? Okay. I will reach out tomorrow.
Would you also send out an email to the board?
Yes.
Good. Welcome aboard, Ben.
Did you take a vote on the motion?
No, we were sidetracked by a question from,
It's been moved and seconded.
it has been moved and seconded.
We've had some discussion.
Any further discussion? I forgot Kate Day's name and I was just trying to summon it up in my brain. Sidetracked by Kate, now we're back. All in favor?
Right.
June 3rd, 5 o'clock, Mr. McCall, 5:30, resident.
Do you want to do 4:30 with Ben and 5 with resident?
Do that.
Okay.
What? Should have.
I will confirm all that tomorrow and do a follow-up email with you.
Perfect. Next item on the agenda is an IOV contract for grant writing services for the Future Facilities Commission.
Would you like to speak to this, Susan? Briefly?
This is the proposal from Isabel from IOV to do grant writing, grant investigating, and hopefully writing for grants for the new fire station and public works building. And Channel 6 just had a great episode. Was it Clinton? Who got a grant, and another town that got a grant from Maine. So I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful as well. My pocket will thank her. I would move that we enter into this agreement with the town of Pownell and Isabel Exley doing business as IOV Community Planning and Consulting.
Moved and seconded. Becky, is there any reason why we should have this agreement vetted by an attorney?
I mean, I can run it by Ben. It looked pretty standard to her last agreement that she sent when she worked on the TIF. I didn't see anything that stood out, but it's probably a good idea just to have him look it over. And you can just say pending a town attorney's approval to approve it.
I think before we, enter into agreement with anybody legally, that we can follow that.
Sure.
So Andy, would you,
I will amend my
Please.
motion to include, after vetting this through the attorney.
you moved and seconded to approve the professional service agreement between IOB Community Planning and the town of Pownell pending approval by the town attorney.
And we'll make sure this gets done in time, right? Yeah.
Ben is pretty quick, so if I send this tomorrow, I'll probably hear from him pretty fast. Do we want to add, because he didn't put it in anyone's specific name, so if you approved it, I was just going to have you sign it tonight, but do you want to add then that I could sign the agreement for the board?
Yes.
Okay. That
I'll
way we. don't
further
have to wait.
amend my motion to include that the town administrator may sign the contract.
All right, moved and seconded with the amendment that Becky would be able to sign it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, motion carries. Good.
Great.
Is there any other new business? Is there any old business? Oh, great. Correspondence, Becky.
There was a letter sent from a realtor to the select board that I made copies for you all tonight. Given the new laws around tax acquired properties, she's just reaching out to say she'd be interested in serving us should we need to list properties for the state law. We still need to rewrite that policy to be in compliance with state law, and I think that this would be an RFP anyway, once we got to that point, but it was just correspondence to have on the record and share with the board.
Any questions for Becky? Any other correspondence? Jesse?
Today we received notification that we are going to be receiving the funds from FEMA from the disaster windstorm back in April of '23. So we'll be receiving roughly $43,000. Yep.
Nice to know.
I can also report that we did get the grant money for the water capacity study at the beginning of this month too. So, yep. So we got that back, that reimbursement portion.
Nice.
It was about 29,000, so, yep.
Any correspondence for you, Kate?
I've had a couple of calls regarding questions around who the third select board member might be. Questions of interest around what it's like, sort of, what sort of duties it's entailed. I got one call from Orion Breen and I got one call from Melissa.
Good. I was expecting Ms. Victory meeting tonight. Disappointed that she didn't show up. So it goes. Got to be pretty clear, and I want to make it a public statement that the select board has no preference to any writing candidate, nor should we promote any candidate in public. Okay. But we would definitely welcome anybody willing to throw their hat in the ring. And if someone would be willing to run, then we could mention to people who come to the counter that we do have an interested write-in candidate. We can offer that name to people. But until they come and declare their desire to run, we need to be neutral on that. All right, is there any other business? You step up just so people who are.
Writing candidates, do they have to let you know they're writing?
I'm sorry, but.
Do they have to let you know they're being a writing?
So by state statute, they don't have to officially tell me, but if they did, then I would pass their name along if people ask that, yes, this person has told me that they are declaring a writing candidacy. I would also encourage them to give me either a phone number or an email so residents could reach out and ask them, what, their goals are and why they want to run. So the residents can be educated about that person as well. But no one has done that officially direct with me. All they have to do is quick phone call or an email to me if they're interested, and I will get them on their way, so.
I think, I'm not trying to read your mind, Susan, but could you just explain the process if nobody declares and a writing candidate wins? What was the process?
Absolutely. So if nobody declares, then the person that receives the most write-in votes that night gets a phone call from me, if I have their phone number, or a letter in the mail. That is the only write-in candidate that I can actually reach out to. All the other write-in candidates by state statute aren't, because you can't determine if we had 6 people that got 1 vote, which would be the one you call first. So if that person were to decline, then we would need to hold a special election, at which point the select board could choose to shorten the nomination paper period down to, say, 20 days versus 40. We could shorten absentee balloting down to 21 days instead of the 30 and try to hold an election by the beginning of September before we get into the big November one. That way, we're only running about 3 meetings with a quorum of 2. But our hopes is that that actually doesn't happen, that someone does declare or, makes a statement to me and I can be getting that information out and someone just, gets interested. And I'm happy to have a phone conversation with anybody too, as far as, the ins and outs too.
Well, secret squirrels here every meeting. We might want to.
That two is that we can't run business if one person is missing. So,
Mhm.
other than signing warrants, there could be no business run. I've been in that situation, and it's not fun at all, and the town really suffers. So I really hope that somebody would be willing to step forward. All right, seeing no other business, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Seconded? Second. All in favor? Thank you.